And this is where I put my folded ones.
Oh, okay. Your more full ones?
My folded ones.
Oh, folded ones. Okay. I thought you said fuller.
That's where I put my folded ones.
Okay, perfect.
Well, one of my folded ones is so pretty that I will, and I wrapped it up in my blankie that I brought in here.
Okay.
And I want to give it to Mommy.
Oh, okay.
And it's so beautiful, I don't want to let it go.
Oh, okay.
And I'm going to show you what I'm going to put right in. If you would like another present, then you have to put your phone right back in there if you want another present.
Okay, I'm going to start our story.
But if you want some more presents, then you have to keep your phone under there if you want some more presents.
Oh, well, for now, I'll keep my phone here, okay?
But if you want a present, then...
Maybe after the story we'll do that?
Okay, but if
Maybe you go work on the presents right over here.
Wait.
Maybe you can work on them right here while I tell the story. Would that be okay?
No,
Tonight's story is...
Because if I make Mommy one, then you'll see what Mommy's is.
Oh, what if I don't look? You know I tell my stories with my eyes closed.
And if I make you one and your eyes open, then
they won't be open, will they? How does Daddy tell stories? That's right, my eyes are closed.
Why don't I just stay under the office?
Under the desk? Okay. Are you ready?
I do miss you a little.
Oh, I love you.
Where's Bun Bun?
I don't know. Where'd you put her?
Oh, she's under there.
Underwear. Ah, you made me say underwear. How funny. Okay, let's see. Processing. Please wait.
As a sword and a shield, so I'm gonna get a little comfy spot in here, under here.
Okay. Okay, my story is gonna be called Where the Magic Went. Are you ready? Now, everybody knows that at one point on Earth, magical creatures existed. What nobody knows is where they all went. And that's what our story is going to be about, JJ. Are you excited? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you sound excited. Okay. Well, I was lucky enough to come across a book. Remember when I was a kid, I told you there was a wizard's house. And do you remember our adventures down the well? Well, this time we were brave enough to try to go into the house. Even though everybody said never, ever do that there was an old wizard that lived in there. And one day we saw a window open. And my friend and I stood there and looked at each other. I said, who's going to go in? He said, not me. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do it. And he said, oh, be careful. I said, well, give me a lift. I'm going into the window. And I did. I climbed right up in through that window, and I landed, with a big thud. I did not realize how far from the floor that window was. It seemed so far, it seemed impossible, like the floor was lower than the ground that we had left. And then I looked up, and the room was taller than the house, and I didn't quite understand how that could be. JJ, would you grab me a bottle of water out of the fridge, out of my refrigerator?
Okay.
Thank
I
you.
have to leave my drawing here.
Okay. And so, as I looked around the room, I saw some of the most curious things I had ever seen.
Ready.
You ready?
Correct.
Okay, so as I looked around in the room, I saw some of the most curious things I had ever seen. And mind you, I had seen plenty because I loved to read, and I had read all about other cities and other countries and other cultures and all kinds of history and all kinds of interesting things around the world, but these things were the most curious I had ever seen. In one corner, I saw a long stick that looked like a staff, but at the top was a big, giant, red, glowing ruby, or what looked like a ruby at least. In another corner was a book, but it wasn't just a book, it was a really big book, and the pages were opening, and once in a while a page would turn on its own as if someone was reading it, but there was no one there that I could see. In another corner was what you'd think a plain-looking chair, until the chair spun around on its own. And the fourth corner was a staircase that seemingly led to nowhere. It was just pointing up, pushed into the wall, with an archway in the wall that was concrete, so I couldn't see why those stairs were there. And I turned back to tell my friend the things I had seen, but there was no window. I was getting a little worried because I didn't know how I was going to get out of this room. And since I loved books so much, I went over to the pages that were turning and I looked down to see that the pages had writing on them as the pages were turning. There was new writing appearing. And in one of the pages, I noticed a strange thing. I noticed my name on the writing. And so I tried to read, but I wasn't really good at reading upside down just yet. And I wasn't sure if it was okay to move the book. And so I wasn't sure what to do. The next thing I did was I looked near the book and I noticed on the wall a mirror. So I grabbed the small mirror and I held it up in front of the book so that then the words would appear to me. But I also noticed then they were backwards, so that didn't work. And so I thought, what if I could go over and get those stairs? But I went over and I pulled on the stairs and they wouldn't move. It's almost like they were stuck in the wall. So I wasn't sure what to do. Instead, I just went back over there and I stood there and I tried really hard to read and I tried to keep up. And it told a story about all kinds of magical creatures, pixies and elves and unicorns, and even dinosaurs, and every creature we had forgotten about. All of the good ones, all of the bad ones even. The meanies and the greenies and the flatulent goblins and everything that I had always read about. And the story it told, yes, the meanies and the greenies, you like that? The stories it told were about a big battle long ago between humans and all the magical creatures. And it listed so many creatures, even some I'd never heard of at the time. There was one called a Cerberus, another one called a chimera. You know what that is? You do? Oh, it would have been great to have you in that room with me.
We just read about it.
We did. That's in the Greek mythology book. That's right. And something called a pixie, which at the time I didn't know what that was. But yeah, it told all about these creatures and their wondrous ways of things that they could do and the powers that they had. One of them was even called a tree ant. Not to be confused with the two-word tree ant, but treant. T-R-E-A-N-T. It's one word. And these creatures were amazing. They actually were, in some fashion, a tree. But they could move around, and they had life, and they had eyes, but they were made of wood. But their trees could grow, and they could change. And during this big battle, tree ants actually played a crucial role because they could house weapons, they could cross bridges, they could build a bridge for people.
Stop.
Don't put water on my toe, you little
I'm
goofball.
trying to clean. Trying to clean your toes.
So anyway, this book told a long story about an epic battle, and before I knew it, hours had passed by. My friend was on the outside of the house in sheer panic, yelling for me, and I didn't even hear him the whole time. I learned about the magic creatures and what happened at the end of the battle. Well, as it happened, the humans won.
I need to put some on your...
The humans won the battle.
I need to put some on...
Okay, are you paying attention? You are? Or are you playing with that squirt bottle? Are you getting the carpet wet, sweetheart?
A little.
You're so funny. What are you doing?
Putting sunscreen on you.
Oh,
I'm
thanks.
putting sunscreen on you.
It's quite nice of you. Thank you.
Now I need to.
It's a good thing it's real sunny out. Where was I? Do you remember? Now I forgot the story.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
I have to concentrate. I have to close my eyes. Remember?
Are you...
If I can't see it in my mind's eye, then how can I tell the story?
Now I need some
Also,
on your
it's hard to tell a story with somebody squirting you.
hands.
Okay, that's too much.
I'm rubbing it around.
Next time we do this, I'm going to take my shirt off. You can give me a nice back rub, but for now it's kind of wet. When are you old enough to learn back rubs? Don't do that, goofball. Okay,
Hungry?
now listen. I got to get in my zone. It's my zone. Ready? Here we go. We're winding up. Where was I? Was I looking at a book?
Uh-huh.
Thanks. Okay. So, this book told of all of these magical creatures. It was the most amazing thing I'd ever read, but I learned where they went. And I'm not sure if I'm allowed to tell you, JJ, so maybe we'll hold that for another story.
No.
No? Oh, now that I have your attention. So there was this epic battle between humans and all of the magical creatures. And at one point, even the good magical creatures and the bad magical creatures had to come together as friends in order to try and defeat the humans, but the humans took over. And so I feel bad about that, but we actually conquered them. In the end, it was a master wizard above all the other wizards. His name, are you ready? Was Merlot. Yeah. His name was Merlot, and he was extremely powerful, and he crafted a divine object that took all of the magical creatures and shrunk them down to where they were tiny. Dragons became the size of bunnies. Giants that towered over buildings became about the size of a child, about your height. And so, as it happens, all of these magical creatures that everybody thought disappeared actually just became part of the rest of the world. Well, as time went on, people started to figure it out and discovered that they didn't win the battle, but that they were among us. And every once in a while, a child like yourself might find one of these magical creatures. Now, nobody knows what happened to the bad ones. They think they all left in battle and maybe died at the battle. But all of the good ones simply shrunk down. I think maybe Merlot didn't keep the bad ones, right? But all of the pixies, even the pixies then became little tiny creatures that you can barely see. I think we now know them as fruit flies, actually. Those are little pixies. And elves, do you know what they became?
What?
They became... I don't remember. What did elves become? Let's see.
I have no idea.
Yeah. Well, tree ants clearly became trees, of course. The Cerberus became dogs. They were bad creatures, but now they're good, so that doesn't make sense. And the Chimera became someone named Vinny that just ran a company called Mafia Inc. I don't know what that's all about. And the elves became teddy bears.
Really?
Teddy bears?
Are you serious?
Yeah, totally serious. But they had to hide their ears, so. And I said dragons became bunnies. What else was there? Giants became the size of kids. What did what did I miss? Oh, dinosaurs. Where did they go? Do you know where all the dinosaurs went? The dinosaurs went to a different world that's within our world. Now, if you were able to, we haven't been able to, and nobody knows the secret, so don't tell a soul, okay? Underneath the earth, way down, farther down than you could imagine, deeper than the oceans themselves, near the center of the earth, there's something called a magnetic core. The core of the earth is magnetic. Remember the magnet we played with the other day? How it has a force to it? It's attracted to the center of the earth. Well, a little bit past the center. So you have imagine a big ball, right? Imagine in the middle you have this really strong, gigantic core that's liquid hot magma, right? So you've got that, and then it's pulling. But there's a ring here that is empty. And inside that ring, they built a whole world for these dinosaurs so that they could live in peace and nobody on the outside would ever know that they existed. Now, if you promise not to tell anybody about this, someday we may find the ship that I built to go there. But I lost it, and I think Merlot had something to do with it, because remember, I lived down the street from him, so we'll get back to that at another time. Anyway, so I'm in this room, and I'm just completely engrossed in this book, whose pages are now turning faster and faster because I'm so excited. And then, all of a sudden, it got dark. And I looked around, and I was a little afraid, but I couldn't stop thinking about the book and the words and the battles and the creatures and all the magical things.
But more water.
More water? And all of the magical things I had just read about. More water. Okay. But that noise kind of startled me. And I thought, uh-oh, what if the wizard knows I'm there? And what if he's going to catch me? So quickly, I crouched down. I felt the edges. Remember, it was completely dark. And I remembered where the window was sort of at, but I remembered looking and not seeing it. And I kept feeling, and then I felt something that was quite sticky. Really just felt like a stick. And then I kept feeling around the corner, and then I felt a stair. And I remembered those stairs that went to nowhere. And I thought, well, the next corner just had a chair, and after that was the door, and I think I hear somebody's footsteps. It was very soft, but I could hear it nonetheless. And so I did what...
Is this going to get any scarier?
I did. Are you hiding?
Is this going to get any scarier?
Do you want it to? You do?
Yeah, 'cause I like...
Come over here.
But make sure it doesn't involve tickling.
It won't. Come here.
I see a granny.
No, I promise it won't. Okay, come here.
Only if I want it to.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm going to go under there and make some more presents.
Okay. Are you ready for the rest of the story? It's almost over.
Now wish me good luck.
Okay. So there I was. I had felt the step of the stairs, but at the same...
Didn't put it in very well.
Pardon me?
Didn't put it
Oh.
in.
Oh, I see that now. Okay. All right, here you go. and I hear those footsteps coming toward me. I could tell by the sound that it sounded almost like a soft type of shoe, not a boot or anything, not real stompy like, but just more soft like. Definitely enough to know it was shoes, but not like it was somebody wearing socks. At any rate, I was really getting worried because not only were the footsteps getting closer, the hair on the back of my neck, these little tiny hairs, it started to stand up. And it almost felt like electricity getting near me. And oh man, did I freak out. I jumped up and ran up the stairs, forgot completely that there was a big brick wall there, ran up the stairs, and where the wall should have been, I should have hit that wall running as fast as I could, and boy, it was going to hurt, but I had forgotten it was there, and all of a sudden, right outside, fall on the ground. I'm telling you, I was in that room for hours, but only a few minutes had passed, and there's my friend standing there, and I landed right on my face, and I turned around, and I looked up at him, I'm like, we gotta go! And he just saw my face. He didn't even ask a question, and we just took off running back to my house.
He only saw your face?
He saw the look on my face. Like, he didn't ask what had happened. He knew that I was really ready to get out of there, that something was freaking me out. And we all knew we weren't supposed to go in that house, So, we get back to the house, and I'm panting, and he's panting, and we get to the kitchen. I grab some water. I'm drinking it. He's going, what happened? What happened? Tell me what happened. And I told him all about it, and he looks at me. He's like, that's impossible. You were only gone for a few minutes. And I said, hey, I'm just telling you what was in the room, what happened, the entire book that I read, the history of it. There's no way I was gone for a few minutes. And he's sitting there insisting I was only gone for a few minutes. And I said, well, I just don't understand how any of this happened. I told him about the wizard, this powerful wizard named Merlot, and we kind of looked at each other when I said that, and we realized, JJ, the old wizard that lived in the house down the road from me, we think it was him. I think that was Merlot, the big head wizard guy, the all-knowing. And I think he knew we were in there. And I think that thing that made my hair stand up, I think that was him getting near. And he was so powerful with his wizardry magic. I don't know if he had planned to hurt me. He might have just been saying hi. But all his magical power surrounded him. And that's what made my hair stand up. That's what I think, anyway. What do you think? Nah. What would you have done?
What I would have done if I'm scared and I didn't have anyone with me, I would have just got into my fearsome mode, and then I would have bowed.
That's a fearsome look. You're scaring me right now.
And then I would have fight.
Good job. Okay. Fight or flight, I suppose, huh?
Okay. Is the
Okay.
story still going?
No, our story's over. It's time to say goodnight.
I didn't really like that story. So, do you mind telling me
Are you serious?
story?
Really?
Tell me a different
Maybe because you interrupted it like 6 times? Is that why?
No.
Yeah.
No, it's because...
Or it's because you want to play some more while I tell another story. Is that it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Come over here.
Are you going to take me?
No, I'm not. I want you to say goodnight.
Good night, Pete, Poop, Pete, Pete, Tot.
Great. Good sign off.
Done.